Hey, what's up? It's almost the end of May, so I thought I'd get this month's Q&A rolling. See the description for some important information. So, with that said, let's begin.
These are the rules for the Q&A. 1. Only one question per person per Q&A. If you ask more than one question, only your first question will be answered and the rest will be ignored. 2. Check previous Q&As for already answered questions. Each question is listed in the description section of that video. 3. Questions must be game related.
First question. Do you think there may be games worse than Action 52, Cheetahmen 2, or E.T. that may be so obscure they will never be discovered again? Well, I mean, it's possible. I'm sure there's somebody out there who made some horrible game in their basement using MASM 6.0, but of course you wouldn't know that unless it was actually discovered, so it's pure speculation. Next question. As a fan of BioShock, what got you interested in the game? And what are your thoughts on the upcoming sequel? What got me interested in BioShock was that it introduced elements that I've never seen before. It looked pretty innovative to me. Of course, it was in reality a spiritual successor to a game called System Shock 2, which of course meant that it wasn't as innovative as I thought it was. As for the sequel, yeah, I'm excited, but I don't think it'll have as much impact on me as the first game due to historical precedents. Most sequels really don't have the same impact as the first game. Now, a few notable exceptions would be where there's a profound increase in the quality of the gameplay. And to give a couple of examples of that would be Resident Evil 4 and Grand Theft Auto 3. Next question. Both you and the AVGN reviewed Fester's Quest. Do you think that what do you think of AVGN's review of Fester's Quest? Would you say that yours is superior? I thought that the AVGN's review was hilarious. Now, a lot of people have panned that particular review, saying that it is subpar relative to some of his other work. Now, I disagree with that. And I think a part of that stems from the fact that I absolutely hate Fester's Quest, and it was absolutely hilarious to see the man who inspired me to do reviews bash the shit out of it. As far as me, whether I think mine is better, it's not my place to say that. I'll just leave that to the fans, to you guys, to decide whose review is better. Next question. Do you own Metroid Prime 3, and do you think it should have had multiplayer? Yes, I have Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. I haven't had a chance to play it. I was actually supposed to review that last year, but it got put on the back burner. As far as it having should have had multiplayer, I think on the surface it sounds like a good idea, but since I haven't actually tried it out yet, I can't really give a qualified opinion. Next question. Do you prefer the boo in your freaking face horror of Resident Evil or the psychological asylum of anticipation and fear known as Silent Hill? I'm gonna have to go to Resident Evil, and the reason why I say that is I played Silent Hill 1, and what made it quote-unquote scary was the anticipation of a boo in your face type of horror, and of course that wasn't the case. So through no credit of its own, Silent Hill was scary. So Resident Evil gets that one. Next question. Was it really smart for Sega to make Sega CD to compete with PC Engine CD reader? They knew it wasn't selling well in the US or in Europe, so technically they made the Sega CD to compete with the NES, the Super Nintendo, and other countries. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, it was a bad idea. It sounded like a good idea when it first came out. I had my questions of it. I mean, you know, why wasn't it its own independent system? Kind of like what the Angry Video Game Nerd pointed out. Of course, the add-on was a bad idea, but that's of course with 2020 hindsight. I think that the Sega CD really costed Sega a lot of credibility. I think if they had just focused on the Genesis and forget all these stupid add-ons like 32X, I mean, that should never even came out. I think that Sega would have done better with the Saturn and arguably the Dreamcast, and I think the Sega CD planted some of the seeds of failure for Sega in the hardware market. But of course, that's with 2020 hindsight. I mean, back then it didn't sound like all that bad of an idea. Next question. Have you heard of a recording software known as GameBridge? Yes, I have heard of it. It's not what I use. I use a WinTV PVR. Let me show you. Not sure if you can see that. This is what I use. I just hook it up to my laptop and run WinTV software, and it push record, and it records all my next gen footage. So yes, I've heard GameBridge, and it's not what I use. Shit. Alright, there we go. Next question. Do you like the Sonic series? If so, what is your favorite game? I've only played 3 Sonic games. I was back on the Genesis. I was Sonic 1, 2, and Pinball. I liked all of them. I don't really have a favorite, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with Sonic 2. Next question. Who are your top 5 best game reviewers and why? Wow. Okay, let's see. AVGN, and this is in no particular order. AVGN, Helsing 920, Spoony1, Play It Bogart, and Urinating Tree. Yeah, that's right. I'm picking anybody who's ever done a review, not just people who are active doing reviews now. Reason why is, you know, next question. What is your opinion on the evolution of the Metroid series since the NES era? Metroid for the NES, awesome, timeless classic. Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo, awesome. I tried out Metroid Prime 1 for the GameCube. Never really got into it. Haven't tried Metroid Prime 3, so I really can't comment on it. Can't really give a qualified opinion, but from what I've heard, from the reception that I've seen, it's turned out well. Unlike most 2D to 3D transitions. Next question. What is the best PS3 game you've played? Every PS3 game I've played, except Heavenly Sword, is also on the Xbox 360, so Heavenly Sword. Next question. I noticed a lot of games focusing more on presentation, graphics, etc., instead of focusing on the bread and butter, you know, gameplay or whatnot. I was wondering if you've noticed this trend, and if you had, what is your opinion on it? To be honest, you know, I've thought about this, and I've argued with people over this, and it kind of stems back from the transition from the 4th to the 5th generation, or the 16-bit era to the next era, which was PSX, Saturn, N64. And what happened during that transition is you had a profound increase in the quality of gameplay. Namely, you went from sprite-based to, you know, cutscenes and non-sprite-based, you know, rendered graphics. 2D to 3D, also several genres were popularized, like stealth, survival horror, RTS games, and arguably RPGs. And so you have this significant jump in the capabilities and the quality of games during that transition. We have not seen such a profound jump ever since, and I think this has created an illusion that game companies are focusing more on presentation, and what I would argue is that what they're actually doing is just trying to meet the expectations of gamers, because you don't want a PS3 game with PS2 or PSX graphics. That's just not gonna fly out there. There's a certain expectation of quality in terms of the graphics and sound and, you know, all that other stuff. Now that doesn't mean that there are some games that I think lack substance. I think Assassin's Creed is definitely would definitely fall under that category, but I don't see it as an industry-wide trend.
Due to YouTube's time limit on videos, this video has been split into 2 parts. This is the end of part 1. Please see the second part of this video linked in this part's description.